For joining us once again. It's time for one-on-one. My name is Titilayo Oyinsan. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be able to reach you via YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter simultaneously. Thank goodness for technology. Technology is taking us to places we probably had no imagination about some time ago, but we're learning gradually. And we're having important conversations that need to be had to make sure that the learning continues. Today, we're going to be talking about AI. Yes, AI is coming to take over. And we decided to bring someone in to make sure that we get all our facts right. There are a lot of AI powered features on Google, for instance. But we're not going to act like we're the experts. We're going to let the experts come in and have this conversation with us. But before we bring in our guests, I have a quick video for you. If you've been struggling to create your own ads, maybe the ones you want to post on social media about your small, medium business, or maybe it's even motivational quotes you've been trying to put together just to get more presence online, I have a secret I would like to share. AdCreative.ai is an amazing AI that really made things a lot easier for me when trying to create my ads. And you know what? I don't want to talk too much about it. Let me just play this video so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then you can scan the QR code on the screen right now and sign up. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Hello there. On this video, we are going to be creating conversion-focused ad creatives using AdCreative.ai. When you're on AdCreative.ai, getting started is pretty easy actually. What you need to do is to create your brand first, your brand name, your brand logo, your brand colors and brand description, and you can also connect your ad accounts if you want to. This way, AdCreative.ai can actually learn from your data to bring you better creatives and better predictions. So, I already created my brand. I'm going to be using AdCreative.ai today. After your brand is created, you can click on generate and then click on add creatives. That's going to bring you to this screen where you have two options, social media sizes or display sizes. Let's say today we are advertising on Instagram, so we need a square size. My project description already comes from the brand description, so that's ready to go. And on this example, since I'm using AdCreative.ai to generate for AdCreative.ai, I'm going to be writing my target audience are as advertisers. So since my target audience is ready, I can go ahead and write my text, or I can use our text AI button. Text AI button is basically generating some headlines and punchlines using artificial intelligence for high conversion rates. So they're already ready. Ads made easier with AdCreative.ai. Generate conversion ads with AI. Create ads now. If I'm not happy with the second one, I can go ahead and make ads smarter with AdCreative.ai or conversion ads easier than ever. So that looks good to me. No need to change anything. Then I have two flows. If I have several different backgrounds, if I have several different products that I want to generate all at once at scale, I can use the second one. But on this example, we are going to be using the first one. I have no background right now with me that I can drag and drop. So I'm going to be using the image search engine of AdCreative.ai. And let's say that Facebook. So since we are talking about Facebook ads, I'm just going to search for Facebook. Let's go ahead and find one that makes sense to us. This one, why not? I selected it, looks good, the logo is there, and basically that is pretty much it. So let's put our test as a save project. So basically here what I've done is that AdCreative.ai already knows about my brand, now my project, now my target audience as well, and which size that I need. So basically AdCreative.ai is going to use all that data to generate conversion focused, ready to use ad creatives. So as you can see, there is over 100 ad creatives here that is going to be there. And if you like one of them, let's say this design looks really good for you. What you can do is that you can use one of your credits to download that and directly use it. And here you can see that not only AdCreative.ai generated those creatives, but also scored each one of them. So based on our artificial intelligence, these ones actually are the ones that we predict that is going to perform the best. So that's pretty much it. If you like some of these creatives, but if you don't want to download and upload, you can also select them and directly push them to the platforms. And my favorite feature is that if you like one of the designs, let's say you really like this one, you can click on this button, which is going to go ahead and turn this same creative into several other formats, so you don't have to create projects again. So if I'm going to go ahead and publish this also on stories and Pinterest and LinkedIn, etc., or display sizes, all these creatives are ready, generated. I can directly go ahead and use one of my credits to download that as well. So that's going to be pretty much it. That's AdCreative.ai for ad creatives. If you haven't tried it yet, we have 7 days free trial that gives you 10 free credits, no strings attached. Go ahead, try it, see if the results are good for you. If yes, you can continue. Thank you.
And that's it. Really simple, really short. Adcreatives.ai. It's been fun for me and it's made my work a lot easier. Now, artificial intelligence is definitely taking over. I said that earlier on. But just so you understand, we have a guest here today who's going to be speaking about the Black Founders Fund in Africa. His name is Folarin Aiyegbusi, and it is great to have him here with us. Hello, Folarin. Good evening.
Hi, TC. Good evening and good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today with you.
All right. So now, honestly, as conversation starters go, AI has become one for me. And as you could see with the ad I mentioned earlier on, I felt it really interesting that we had someone from Google here. Now, I know that 3 days ago, or was it 2 days ago, on Wednesday, I think Google launched something special. Am I right?
Yes, we've made a series of announcements, yes, in the past few days. And
Okay.
one of them is the Black Founders Fund. I imagine you might be referring to the new additions to our workspace
Yes.
that allow for predictive text, allow for almost a sort of AI, artificial intelligence assistant. But that is one of the many things that we announced very recently. Another one, which I'm more excited to actually speak about, is the Google for Startups Black Founders Fund in
Okay.
Africa and Europe. And if you don't mind, I'm happy to share a little about it.
Sure, of course. Go ahead. I was actually wondering if there was a site or a page I could pull up so we could see more. Should I just tag it Black Founders Fund right now?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
And you find this.
Fund. Is it dot? What do I? Okay, I can just Black Founders Fund Africa. I think
Yeah,
that's it. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm gonna pull that up on the screen in a second. But go ahead, talk to us.
thank you. Yes, so as part of our solutions to the racial inequities that Black founders have faced over the years, we announced the Black Founders Fund 2 years ago with an initial $3 million commitment to support 50 startups. That was in 2021. In 2022, we made some progress by announcing a $4 million fund to support 60 startups across the African continent. We support last year and 2 years ago, we supported them with up to $100,000 in non-dilutive grant funding, up to $200,000 in Google Cloud credits, and what we like to call the best of Google in terms of our people, our methodologies, and our advanced technologies. So this year, once again, we're very excited to announce another commitment to addressing those racial inequities and identifying and supporting, I guess, as part of the conversation, AI-driven, tech-driven, tech-enabled startups across the African continent. This is one of 4 programs that is running. We have the Africa version of it, we have the Europe version of it, we have the Brazil edition of it, and we have the US version of it.
Okay. So can you talk to us about how well the first edition was? How was it the first time you worked on it?
Certainly, certainly. You know, they say, oh, mentorship is great, but you know what's better than mentorship? Money. And they
Oh,
also
well, true, very true.
and they say that $1 in the West is in the global West is worth maybe $10 or $100 in the global South, like Africa. So we supported the 50 startups with $50,000 checks, $100,000 checks,
Wow.
and since then we've seen these startups who are part of a wider pool of startups go on to increase their monthly recurring revenue by over 50%, create over 500 additional jobs, direct jobs, by the way,
500.
and
Wow, interesting.
500, yes, in less that was in the 1 year that they went through the program, and raised follow-on funding of over $100 million since receiving the funding.
Can you tell us how many people applied for this? How many applicants did you first receive? And was there a particular concentration in any part of Africa?
I'd love you to take a guess at how many applied.
Oh, goodness me. I wouldn't know really. I'm thinking maybe 2,000 to
Double
2,000 or
that.
more. Double that, 4,000 applicants. Wow.
Yes, over 4,000 startups applied from across the African continent. And I'm sure, as you would imagine, there was, as you would imagine, a strong concentration in certain locations. And that trend actually followed the funding landscape or the funding trends of the African continent, or the VC funding trends. So, for example, over the past 3-4 years, we've seen the top 4 or 5 countries in terms of VC funding be Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Egypt, and the likes. And the applications that we received follow those numbers. So what that speaks to is the vibrancy, the size of the market, but also the vibrancy of the tech startup ecosystems in those countries.
Yeah. Now, one wouldn't really assume that there were that many startups, 4,000 startups ready to go in Africa. But this is because of the general mindset, I guess maybe a stigma about limitations that Africans might have when it comes to putting together some particular projects. So how was the criteria? Because it feels like the criteria couldn't have been that stiff for 4,000 applicants to have got through.
Even if the criteria was stiff, you would still see people. As Africans, we're generally resilient, and we will still apply. You see us apply to programs, not just African programs, but outside of the continent as well. They say that, you see, regardless of the program, I'd rather not mention names now, but you ask about who the highest applications come from, you see either the broader pool of Africans, or, for example, Nigerians or Kenyans. That's what we go on to see. But going back to the question of what the criteria was, what we're looking for are tech-enabled, tech-driven startups from across the African continent, powered by, run or led by Black founders, diverse group of Black founders that are tackling solving African problems, leveraging technical tools. These startups are also VC backable, and they've identified they're about to hit or have hit product market fit. What that looks like is these are not startups that are still in ideation. It's that they have a working product or a service. They are about to go to market or have gone to market, and they're starting to see returns. Those are the startups that we're looking for the program.
So I know that there are some, I won't use the term criteria again, but some expectations that you have of people who are deemed eligible of the fund eventually. So once you get the fund, let's talk about the first group that got the fund last time. How long is it a window that you gave them to give some kind of returns or show evidence of their progress?
Sure. So throughout the lifespan of the first program, as you said, we actually monitored. Once we selected them, we started to monitor their progress. As we were supporting them, we were also monitoring and evaluating. And what that looks like is the daily, weekly, monthly check-ins with these startups, or group sessions with the startups as well. We ensure that we enabled one-to-one connection between the startups, one-to-one connection between mentors, one-to-few or one-to-many connection with facilitators in wider workshops, and one-to-one or one-to-many connections with investors as well. And throughout this program, as we're monitoring, we're seeing the growth of progress of the startups. For some of them, it's easier for them to come to us and tell us, hey, since being on this program, thank you so much, guys. We've employed 5 more people, or we've gone on to raise X amount $1 million, or we're looking to raise. And for some who are less forthcoming, we would go to them and ask them the questions. Oh, hey, X startup, Y startup, how are you doing? How are you finding the program? And with that, they will then revert to tell us how well they're doing or where they need support. And I guess with that, that's part of how we were able to track the progress. Something I could also say is that at the end of the program, when we asked them, oh, could you share, based on the base points of when you applied for the program and now, how much growth can we document? Have you seen over the past X couple of months?
So now monitoring must be extremely important. It does feel like you probably have to put together a huge team to make sure that these mentors and the candidates work together and at least find some kind of synergy or rhythm to this, because as doing business in a place like Africa is already challenging. And no matter how much money you give someone, they still believe it is their own business, it's their baby. There's always that mindset that someone might want to take control of my idea or take control of my business or be too demanding or have too high expectations. Yes, we got the grants, we got the fund, but so how have you been able to manage these kinds of situations?
That's a wonderful question that actually speaks to the reality of these things, especially when you give non-dilutive funding to startups. We understand that we are not, we wouldn't call ourselves investors in quotes to the startup, but mainly supporters, cheerleaders to the startups that are able to, or those uncles that are able to give them a little cash check to support their businesses or them scaling their businesses. Now, what this looks like is we have a very small team, but we believe in the power of aggregation. So we open and we welcome volunteer mentors, volunteer facilitators from within Google and external to support the process as well. In the past 2 years, we've also worked with the likes of Co-Creation Hub Nigeria, a partner of the Google for Startups ecosystem, to excuse me, support us in the monitoring and evaluation process. But also going back to what you said about how we don't want to seem like we're nagging or over asking for the progress of the startups. It's not necessarily a daily thing. It can look like a weekly conversation with them. It looks like a bi-weekly conversation or quarterly conversation with these startups. You know, they say it's a carrot and a stick situation. Rather than make them feel like you have to share how well you're doing or you have to mask how well you're not doing, we let them know, see, look, we're here to help. A rising tide lifts all boats. So what does that look like? That looks like you being forgetting about pitch mode and coming to tell us, look, this is what I'm struggling with, or this is how well I'm doing. This is where I need support, or this is where I'd like you to amplify the work that I'm doing. So when you give them that opportunity and that carrot, they're happy to share. And with that, we then go back to update our records and then to support them or help amplify the wonderful work that they are doing. The last part of this, going back to what you said about them owning the fear of ownership or someone else taking their business, we, at the start of the program, we iterate and continue to reiterate that, look, every single volunteer on this program has signed an NDA and is legally bound to not disclose anything beyond either public information or what you would like them to disclose. And same thing for the team as well. Our main job, why we do this and why we're not working in banks or other organizations, because we're doing what we like to do, and that is helping people and that is helping startups. So it becomes less a conversation about, oh, taking my business idea, and more about, I want to throw all this information at you so that you can support me even more.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, let's think towards the end game now. Yes, Google for Startups, when it began, it must have had a particular plan in mind. Obviously, we've been looking to the future of innovation, especially from Africa. But doing it again this year, what's the end game for this year? What do you hope to achieve?
Sure, sure. You know, the racial inequities that Black founders face has not reduced. So there's many end goals that we have for this. The easiest one I'd like to speak about is signaling. For example, we started this in 2021 when we had the program in Africa, in Brazil, in the US, and across Europe. And what that's catalyzed is further interest by other top ecosystem support organizations. What that looks like is them also putting their money where their mouth is and saying, look, these guys have done it, and this is the impact, this is the effect. How can we also show our support to diverse founders, whether they be Black founders, be women founders, or more? How do we show our support? So on one hand, there is signaling for other ecosystem players to also show their support to diverse founders. That is one. The second end game is that a rising tide, I like to say this line, a rising tide lifts all boats or lifts all ships, meaning that the success of the wider tech ecosystem is a success for us as well. So what that also looks like is meaning that the faster these startups scale, they're more likely to come back and use one of our or two of our products without us even needing to evangelize to them. That's another pro about the program. The third thing is when we think about Africa, people say Africa is a big bet, but it's more than that. They say you have to think about the fact that in 2050, 1 in 3 individuals will be under the age of 35, sorry. And also in 2035 or 2050, we're going to see the economy contribute over $180 billion to the Africa's GDP. What do these statistics mean? They mean nothing if we're not supporting the scale of the growth of the youth. And this is one way for us to actually show our support or lend our support to them. The fourth part of it is also understanding that, and which is where we saw success. Now, before I go into this, we saw success from the past 2 cohorts of this program when we fostered cross-border collaboration between startups, the startups that went through the program and our wider alumni communities. So what us doing, the end goal for us this year again is to deepen those connections between startups, our new startup cohorts, and our existing startup alumni startups to ensure or to drive more cross-border collaboration, to also introduce them to more investors. We need more investment coming into Africa. They said last year there was about 5-6 billion that came into the African continent in terms of VC funding. Now, while that sounds like a very nice and sexy number, when you think about the context of other parts of the world, where I'd give an example. In London alone, 10 years ago, it's now 11 years ago, they raised the VC funding was at $5 billion. That was 11 years ago. We're in 2023, and for an entire continent with 1.3 billion people, we're only receiving $6 billion in funding. It should be more than that by now. We should be looking at double digits, triple digits figures. So part of what we're doing again is signaling for more investment to come, but also introducing these startups to both local and foreign investors to see that, look, we believe in these startups, so we're committing up to $150,000 of our hard-earned money to see their growth. So you also, while we're de-risking, please also come into the market and invest in these startups and let us see growth.
You know, I find it so interesting. I was scrolling through the page just now. I'm not sure if you could see it when I was. Were you scrolling with me?
Yes.
I've actually had the opportunity to interview some of the owners of some of those startups, and I'm like, I'm blown away. Like, I didn't even know that they were startups. First of all, they were so well put together, so well thought out. Talking about Bookings Africa, talking about Built, talking about there's another one on health. Where is that? Where is the health one I just saw now? I know about Hervest with Sholakwe Akinpelu,
Yes.
Life Back. I remember One Health. I also remember, let me see which other one I remember.
This makes me very happy.
Yes, I was actually extremely impressed. I think I've heard of Zanifu. I'm not sure if it's the same brand or not, but I was blown away that I've actually had conversations with some of these amazing founders. Wow. Now let's talk about the process of even applying for the fund, the Black Founders Fund Africa. I know that it must be there must be a timeline with the process where you have to submit A, B, C, D, E. What's the entire timeline for this process?
Yes. So we opened applications for this program on the 28th of February, and applications will be open up until the 26th of March. Now, the link to apply, it's a two-step process for the program to then begin in June. I just shared a link. If you're able to display that would be great.
I'll share that right now. I will.
Awesome. So the first part of it is a very lengthy. The first part of it is a very lengthy application form, and we received feedback saying that founders have learned more about their business by filling the application form than they did previously. So you fill this lengthy application form that tells us a little about your startup, about who you are as a founder, about the technology behind the startup, and about some of the plans that you have or how you intend to scale that startup in the coming months or in the coming years. We start off with that, and internally we review the X thousand number of applications, and then we go on to shortlist, depending on the number, maybe 50, 100, 200 applications, and invite them to an interview stage. This interview stage will comprise of not just the team here based in Africa, but also experts that have supported our program since day one. These are business experts, these are technical experts as well, that will review or interview alongside the team. After this process, we will then go to a selection committee that will stress test the methodology behind the selection process. They will critique every detail of the methodology for selection, and then we will come up with the final list of startups that we're looking to announce in the first or second week of June. From there on, we have the program running till the end of the year. It's a 5-6 month program, by the way, but it's a very low touch program because we understand that these startups still need to run their businesses. So what that looks like is maybe one workshop a week, for example, or as many mentoring sessions as you need, as you require, as you demand each week or bi-weekly. Again, you are able to tailor the program for yourself or to yourself.
All right. So you said, I hope you can hear me. You said it opened on the 28th of February, right?
Yes,
And the
up until the
applications are
26th.
26th of March. Are
Yes.
you allowed to tell us how many applicants you have already? Are you allowed?
I'd like you to take a guess again.
Oh, is it up to half of what you had last year?
Not yet, but I will not
Mm.
disclose the number this time.
So there is a lot of space. There's still access.
Of
There's still
course.
time. Wow, what's today's date? 17th. Oh goodness me. Will I be able to get my application in time? Or do terms and conditions apply for people like myself who
Let's have it. We'd love for you to apply. I make a very, we're very deliberate with ensuring a blind review.
Sure.
What that looks like is we don't know who applied. We don't know the name of the applicant. We don't know
Yes.
the name of the startup when we're reviewing. That allows us to remove things like bias,
Of
the
course.
familiarity from the review process.
All right. So what I'm seeing here, I'm not sure if you can see what I can see here. It says here who should apply. Now, if your product is in market and you're ready to fundraise, we want to hear from you. Black Founders Fund is intended for startups led by founders who identify as Black. So yes, I'm going to touch on the race card here. Identify as Black. Do you have to give some sort of declaration or proof of where you're from, etc., etc.? What if you are of, not to sound rude to any particular race here, mixed race parents? Does this affect your application? Let's talk about the race card here.
It doesn't. Short answer: it does not affect your application. Part of what we look at, and one of the pros of this sort of program, is that we have this in Africa, we have this in Europe, we have this in the US, and we have this in Brazil. I imagine you fall under one of these different continents. What we say is that, for example, let's look at think about where your startup is headquartered or where your market is when you're looking to apply for the program. Sometimes we see people from other continents try to apply for the program, and then we tell them, you know what, there might be a closer program to you for you to apply to. So please go and apply to that program. And sometimes people also do apply for our program, and we say, you know what, they're headquartered here, but they're serving markets outside of Africa. We will refer them to the other programs, the other regions to consider for their own cohorts.
I want to ask, just off the top of your head, what's the most unique application you've had? I'm not sure. You don't have to say, brand name. You can just maybe describe what it was about. What's the one that hits you every single time you remember it?
I'm worried I might not be able to disclose, and I don't know if this is a test.
Come on. So we know that there are startups in travel, there's startups in health, there's startups in food production, farming, agriculture, education, all sorts of startups. But what's the most unique that you've heard in what particular industry?
I think one of the most, which is actually very boring, one of the most interesting ones I've heard. Maybe I can speak on one of the ones that we've selected. I won't name names, but it's something like waste management. And why I say this is because, and it sounds very, very boring. Why I say this is because I wonder, why would anyone in their right minds want to go into waste? Yeah. Right? That's more of why I find it interesting. But generally, we've seen applications, rather than go deep into that, we've seen applications from, as we'd imagine, fintech, the popular ones, fintech, health tech, ed tech, e-commerce, travel and logistics, and more. But we've also seen beauty startups, we've seen fashion tech as well, we see game tech, one of our more interesting ones last year was a game tech community platform, for example, and we've seen many more. So we are vertical agnostic, so we welcome a very diverse pool of startups for the program.
Okay. All right. I'm really interested. I wish I could be on the panel going through all those applications and listening or hearing from these amazing founders, because you get a window into what the future could actually be. You get to see it first, and then you get to help, to sound religious here, sow a seed into something that could change the world essentially. So I'm just gonna call out the website one more time. It is, let me see, the Black Founders Fund, right, for startups. If you
Yes.
just Google that, is there an actual site they should go to, or they should just Google Black Founders Fund?
They could try the short-term site, which is GOO, that's GOO
Okay.
dot GLE / apply for BFF
Okay.
Africa.
Okay. All right. I have that link right now. I'm gonna put it up on the screen in a second, so that people can see it. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Hopefully you can see that now. Can you see
Awesome.
that now? All right. So, oh yeah, your name is in there. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can take the name in there. All right. Hey, we're still learning. We'll get it. We'll get it right. Okay. Fabulous. All right. That's the site. So that's apply for BFF Africa. That's Google
Awesome.
/ apply for BFF Africa if you would like to try your luck. Now, I have to say a big thank you to you for talking to us about this today, and good luck with the applications. I actually am inspired. I have quite a few business ideas myself, and I'm like, what? Why am I having a conversation about someone else getting a few
Wow.
$100,000? Why am I not applying for this? I think I need to make a few moves myself. But really, great work, great work. All right, then. So you need to let us in on um, what happens as soon as the application window closes. What happens immediately after that?
Sure, sure. Right after it closes, we'd already be skin deep in the review process. Some people getting, it's a rolling basis, so some people would have got some notifications already. But
Okay.
we will not would like to, we will send all applicants a note that we receive the application during the process. And in the back room, I guess outside of the view of the public, be conducting the review process. We'll be having the interviews as well, and then the selection committee will be meeting ahead of
All
the
right.
announcements in June.
Okay, so June is when the announcements will happen. This is when you will find out if your application has sailed through, and if you are eligible for the fund. Then hope you don't mind asking how the fund is dispersed. Is there a special process for that as well?
Nothing fancy. It's literally just send us your account details.
Really?
I'm,
Okay.
I'm doing it.
There's no because there have been some cases where it has to be a particular bank, it's
Oh
dispersed
no.
over a particular time. You hear a lot of those in the fine print. Just to
No,
ask.
we don't discriminate the banks. So, something I forgot to mention as well is that we conduct due diligence
Okay.
on the shortlisted startups. So
Mm.
that will go on before the announcement as well, just to make sure. So what will happen is, what that means is that the startups that have been shortlisted, not necessarily finally selected, will have an idea that they are about to be selected or could be selected. So
All
we'd
right.
run some due diligence to make sure they're not money laundering fronts, they're not funding terrorism, and
Mm.
many other things. And they are who they say they are
Of course.
before we go on to ask them for more details.
All right, then. I know I've taken loads of your time so far. Thank you so much for Folarin Aiyegbusi, head
Thanks
startups
very much as
ecosystem
well.
at Google. And if you're meeting him for the first time through me, yeah, thank you. You probably just heard some information that could change your life, make a difference in your business idea. Even if it's a fresh idea, even if it's something brand new, and you get the application right. Hey, the people that got it last year, they don't have two heads now. That's a Nigerian thing to say, right? But thank you once again for joining us today. Keep in
Thank you.
touch. As soon as
Definitely.
the list comes out, come and share the list with us. Would love to announce who has finally got access to the fund.
Definitely. Thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciate being here. Please apply, everybody.
All right, then. Take care. Take care. That was Folarin Aiyegbusi there, head of startups ecosystem at Google. And we were talking about the Google for Startups Black Founders Fund Africa and Europe 2023. The application process is fairly simple. I put on the screen earlier on a link for you to try out. That is a link right there. Apply for BFF Africa. That's once again Google/apply for BFF Africa, or indeed just Google it, Black Founders Fund Africa, and see if your application will get through. I have a few WhatsApp messages to send to my people that, man, we can't carry last. So if only we had this kind of information years ago, a lot of us would have probably had a lot more successful businesses by now. Hopefully what we shared today has been valuable to you. If it has, make sure you subscribe, make sure you click the bell, make sure you follow on all the platforms, talking YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Technology is amazing. And you might have just heard some information that might change your life. Now, before I go, I just want to share with you one more time something that might help you on your journey to creating amazing ads for your business. Now, I have a little secret that helps me create ads that I use for social media and for advertising, what I do every day, and it's called adcreative.ai. And if you scan the QR code on your screen right now, just scan the QR code and apply, you'll understand why this is such an amazing secret. Now, they have said many times that AI is going to be taking over and taking jobs from quite a few people. And if you have a graphics guy that's always forming for you and giving you delays on some of your work that needs to go out there into the world, delaying delivering your ads to you, this might be the solution you're looking for. Now, let's play a little quick video for you so that you understand exactly what I mean. This is adcreatives.ai.
Hello there. On this video, we are going to be creating conversion-focused ad creatives using adcreative.ai. When you're on adcreative AI, getting started is pretty easy actually. What you need to do is to create your brand first, your brand name, your brand logo, your brand colors and brand description, and you can also connect your ad accounts if you want to. This way, adcreative AI can actually learn from your data to bring you better creatives and better predictions. So, I already created my brand. I'm going to be using adcreative AI today. After your brand is created, you can click on generate and then click on add creatives. That's going to bring you to this screen where you have two options, social media sizes or display sizes. Let's say today we are advertising on Instagram, so we need a square size. My project description already comes from the brand description, so that's ready to go. And on this example, since I'm using adcreative AI to generate for adcreative AI, I'm going to be writing my target audience are as advertisers. So since my target audience is ready, I can go ahead and write my texts, or I can use our text AI button. Text AI button is basically generating some headlines and punchlines using artificial intelligence for high conversion rates. So they're already ready. Ads made easier with adcreative AI. Generate conversion ads with AI. Create ads now. If I'm not happy with the second one, I can go ahead and make ads smarter with adcreative AI or conversion ads easier than ever. So that looks good to me. No need to change anything. Then I have two flows. If I have several different backgrounds, if I have several different products that I want to generate all at once at scale, I can use the second one. But on this example, we are going to be using the first one. I have no background right now with me that I can drag and drop. So I'm going to be using the image search engine of adcreative AI. And let's say that Facebook. So since we are talking about Facebook ads, I'm just going to search for Facebook. Let's go ahead and find one that makes sense to us. This one, why not? I selected it, looks good, the logo is there, and basically that is pretty much it. So let's put our test as a save project. So basically here what I've done is that adcreative AI already knows about my brand, now my project, now my target audience as well, and which size that I need. So basically adcreative AI is going to use all that data to generate conversion focused, ready to use ad creatives. So as you can see, there is over 100 ad creatives here that is going to be there. And if you like one of them, let's say this design looks really good for you. What you can do is that you can use one of your credits to download that. and directly use it. And here you can see that not only Creative AI generated those creatives, but also scored each one of them. So based on our artificial intelligence, these ones actually are the ones that we predict that is gonna perform the best. So that's pretty much it. If you like some of these creatives, but if you don't wanna download and upload, you can also select them and directly push them to the platforms. And my favorite feature is that if you like one of the designs, let's say you really like this one, you can click on this button, which is gonna go ahead and turn this same creative into several other formats, so you don't have to create projects again. So if I'm gonna go ahead and publish this also on stories and Pinterest and LinkedIn, etc., or display sizes, all these creatives are ready, generated. I can directly go ahead and use one of my credits to download that as well. So that's gonna be pretty much it. That's it, Creative AI for ad creatives. If you haven't tried it yet, we have 7 days free trial that gives you 10 free credits, no strings attached. Go ahead, try it, see if the results are good for you. If yes, you can continue. Thank you.
And it's as simple as that. freetrial.adcreative.ai. That's the link right there. And I put the link right there in the comment section as well on YouTube. I'll be forwarding that to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn in due time. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time. Bye.